Afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Solo ReacTalk. This afternoon, I'm going to be reacting to the tragedy of the Commonwealth in Ish Rich and Poor Civilization event made on Sitzkrieg YouTube channel. Yes, if you guys want to check out my previous reaction to the other point of views of the Rich and Poor Civilization 1000 player civilization experiment, remember that the playlist is going to be at the top right here, the reaction playlist card. And if you want to check out the compiled playlist of the point of views, who was it again? Oh my gosh, I forgot his name. Yes, sorry. Crayfish in Brazil. Yes, Crayfish in Brazil created a playlist compiling all the point of views of Ish's 2.5 Minecraft 1000 player civilization. Rich versus poor, or rich and poor, and you'll be able to watch all those other videos in that compiled playlist. And if you want to check out the original video as well as Sitzkrieg's YouTube channel, the links are going to be in the description below. Yes. Wow, the Commonwealth. I've heard, or I have seen the backstory of the Commonwealth through the point of view of the Gauntlet, mainly Captain Parn of the Gauntlet. And yeah, the Commonwealth was a sickly nation from day one or day two, I'm not sure, but I think day two. From day two, you could clearly see that the 5-member council was not stable. They did not trust each other. They did not communicate with each other effectively enough. And it resulted in a nation that was slowly eating itself and, slowly coming apart as a nation. As some nations of the Commonwealth decided that they were going to do their own thing, other nations decided that they're going to decide the future of the Commonwealth unilaterally without the consent of the other council members. And of course the assassinations and the exiling of the Gauntlet. A lot of situations occurred in the Commonwealth that really it was not in the control of any one person to try and save the Commonwealth. This needed a group effort, and that group effort was nowhere to be found. We got to hear a lot about the Commonwealth through the point of view of Captain Parn. But now we're going to be looking at the point of view of a council member of the Commonwealth, a council member of Mykonos, the nation of Mykonos in the Commonwealth, and that is Sitzkrieg. I had issues with Sitzkrieg in the previous video, the Gauntlet X Commonwealth, where Captain Parn was stating that Sitzkrieg was entering into, whose business was it again? Bingo's bread. Yes, Bingo's bread business, and he started to appropriate. He started to nationalize and appropriate Bingo's bread resources and other food and property within the bread business. I'm not entirely sure why he was doing that. Captain Parn didn't really go deep into the reason why Sitzkrieg did that. But, this is just one of many situations that led to the Commonwealth's demise, where, those who were in power abused their power on their people, and those who had been led by the council were also, having their own ambitions along with their own nation's leader. Which resulted in the disunity of the Commonwealth. Nobody was fighting for the Commonwealth, they were fighting for their individual nations. And that's what also, contributed to the hastening death of the Commonwealth as a nation. I did state before that they created an amazing architectural build in terms of their capital, of the Acropolis, and other, capital buildings. They did create a very nice civilization. It's just that their society was dying from the inside out. And there was no way any one of them could try and stop that from happening. Yeah. So let's see what Sitzkrieg is going to say in his point of view of the Commonwealth. The tragedy of the Commonwealth in Ish, Rich and Poor Civilization event. Let's start. 3, 2, 1, go.
I will introduce you to the tragedy of the Commonwealth. I do not claim that this accounting is wholly accurate or unbiased. However, it is as accurate as I can make it.
Thank you for your contribution, Sitzkrieg.
This is to say that it is more detailed than the wonderful story told by Ish. I have also attempted to distill as much of the Discord drama as possible for your enjoyment. This is the story of the group of Mykonos, led by myself, and its place in the tragedy of the Commonwealth.
Wow. Okay, the level of production in the introduction of the video. Wow. Nice. Sitzkrieg. Wait, where's my pen? Okay. Yes. Cabus. Okay. Gem. Ray. Amon. I cannot pronounce your name. I am so sorry. Quampas. Okay. No. Austin Kane. Okay. Ice Jaw. Omega. Sharky and Rex. Someone. Interesting. Someone. Neon. Josh. Quack. All right. Winter. Okay, Winter. Aura.
Day 1 began without issue. Ish had gathered all 1,000 players in a single zone in order to say some opening words and randomly disseminate us across the map. I ended up on the northern half of the southern archipelago. We didn't know it at the time, but there were 3 southern islands, while there was only 1 northern island. The northern island would be informally referred to as Yggdrasil for its enormous tree, and the southern island as Pandora for its political volatility.
Really? Pandora for its political volatility. Alright. I thought they called it Pandora because, it reminds us of Avatar Pandora. Very green, very lush, just a very beautiful, scenic archipelago with just life all over the place. Yeah, like Pandora in the Avatar movie.
Immediately upon being teleported to the map, I lagged out. Moving and voice chat was disabled. I had a rather awkward time trying to break blocks, only for them to unceremoniously pop back in.
Just don't climb any trees.
After a rather long period of bug fixing, we were finally able to move past 3 blocks without being at risk of having an in-game seizure. It didn't take long for us to come upon a rather quaint mountainside, and it was decided that it would do for the time being. It was below this mountain range that we began to mine and gather resources. Considering a number of close calls collecting resources due to trees and mining accidents, gathering together the Commonwealth was an easier task said than done. Most of us made it by the end of day 1, but there was the notable absence of Arthon seen within the ramshackle camp that we had started assembling.
Arthon. The leader, Zeko. No, who was the leader before Zeko? It was Wolfram. Wolfram Arthon. Aha. Yeah, Wolfram, he didn't want to play ball with the rest of the Commonwealth, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
I learned that Arthon had decided to make a temporary base camp. A quick expedition was made to lead our wayward countrymen to our gathering spot. The trip was rather long, but ultimately...
Look what they've already done. They've built their own little community here. They're not going anywhere. They're not going... Look. Do you really think they're going to just abandon everything and head over to where the Commonwealth has now situated itself? And that's a temporary situation. It's not their permanent location. Yeah, I don't think Wolfram is interested in leaving this location. And the pink cherry blossom trees, this must be the middle island of the archipelago. Yeah. So that means he's with Bobbyland, he's with the Conquistadors, and another group of people. I forgot their name right now. But they're part of the Triumvirate. So that's where he's situated his little kingdom, amongst the Triumvirate.
We found the members of Arthon. Unfortunately, after a fruitless conversation with the people who nominally considered themselves Commonwealth citizens, I was directed to Arthon's king, Wolfram, who was noticeably absent.
Man, the people I hear the king is absent. The Commonwealth has not united under one banner, under one location. Yeah. And this is day 1, right? This is just day 1.
The Arthonians were unwilling to move away from their mine shaft and assorted shacks without a direct order from Wolfram. Disheartened, as this was a setback for our goal of making a city, we made our way back home. We passed by many different groups looking to stake claims to the land for their own, including a mass migration of Luminarans amicably passing us by.
They're probably coming from the southern island in the archipelago. They left that location and started migrating to a new location.
The day came to a close as we set our sights on our mountain home once more. The second day began with the sun frozen overhead. The cracks in the foundation of the Commonwealth were beginning to become ever more visible. Wolfram still doggedly refused to join the rest of the Commonwealth, as was previously agreed upon. Hours of Discord discussions the night before had made apparent that there was more at stake than merely a disagreement in where to build our planned city.
Really, the other council members sort of made a decision that if Arthon does not want to join up with the rest of the Commonwealth, they should, be excommunicated from the Commonwealth. The entire nation. Because the entire nation has complete trust and is under the leadership of their king, which is Wolfram. And if Wolfram says, no, we are not going to be joining the rest of the Commonwealth in a location that has been designated as the capital of the Commonwealth for the time being, if they don't want to move there, then they should be kicked out of the Commonwealth and let them be their own independent nation and deal with themselves, while the Commonwealth, the rest of the Commonwealth nations continue on their way. Instead of having this meetings back and forth trying to convince Wolfram to rejoin the effort of the Commonwealth. Clearly, he is not interested. So there must be consequences for his actions and his decision.
The majority of the Commonwealth was gathered at the base of the mountain that we had claimed as our own. A small amphitheater-esque series of stone slabs.
Who is that? Is this person viewing you from the top of the mountain, or is he floating? If he's floating, he's an angel. He's one of the moderators.
Were set down to create a podium and seating. From there, we laid out our objectives for the day, and some small speeches were made. The many members of the Commonwealth were arrayed before us, though a specific group was noticeably absent.
Arthon.
It was there that we met our figurative Hermes, I'm happy.
I'm happy. That's the name of the moderator. Okay. Nice. Nice name. I'm happy. Oh, wow. Okay.
Each major civilization had a member of staff overseeing it and recording major events.
Just look at him. He's just floating up there.
Ours happened to be an initially amicable fellow who would pop in from time to time, ominously looking down from on high. As the crowd dispersed, I tasked Phoebaz, the counselor for Gauntlet, to scout out the territory around us and to potentially find a better location to build the capital of the Commonwealth. After he set out, Coraline approached me to go with them to Tricolor, where supposedly a major island meeting was to be held.
Oh yeah, the discussion about Island 1 and their possible attack on Island 2.
I tasked the remaining members of the Commonwealth to mine sand and resources, whilst I attended what I thought would be a short meeting.
That meeting was not short.
After some quick goodbyes, we departed for Tricolor. It was quite the journey to reach the nation of Tricolor.
Is it faster to go there by boat or to walk there? I wonder.
The world map was not released, so everyone was still relying on coordinate points and rough graphs. After finding a coastline, we eventually made our way to the meeting point. Fashionably late. What commenced was what could be summed up as pointless political grandstanding.
It's Sitzkrieg.
Saparata was overseeing the meeting as a neutral third party, but his oversight merely prevented others from talking over the current speaker.
Well, as a moderator, he has to make sure that there is, proper conduct and decorum and an orderly function, in terms of debate and meetings. If Saparada is making sure that people don't overtalk each other and just create chaos and mayhem where the loudest person has more to say than the rest of the group or the rest of the members who are part of the meeting, it's going to cause problems. So if Saporada is making sure that everybody has their turn to talk, that's good. That's good. I understand that you want to have it like a debate, and you want people to have, a sparring match and back and forth, but, people's egos can take over a meeting. And usually those who are the loudest are the ones who have the last say in everything. And we can't have that here. So, yes, maybe Saporada's oversight over the meeting might have been a bit too controlling, but it is necessary for it to be that way. Because there's a lot of you here, and many of you here don't believe in democracy. You don't believe in debates. You don't believe in any sort of participation of anyone else besides your own ideals or your own aspirations or your own ambitions as a leader. Yeah, the Northern Island nations of the archipelago or of Pandora are not known for their democratic and civil discussions. Not all of the nations. Maybe Alkaline Alk, and Aperion, maybe they are something that you could say that they are very diplomatic and they are open to suggestions and to diplomacy of debate. Yes, but other nations not so much. Yeah.
All the while, the meeting broke into two political blocs. In short, to explain these political ideologies, they formed out of the state of the two major islands, blocked off by Ish until a later date. The northern island, Yggdrasil, was an inhospitable hellscape. Boiling water, shattered plains, a volcano, looming mountains, and a single gnarled tree rising above it all. Pandora was by comparison an idyllic island, rich in natural resources. Even our ore spawn rates were significantly better. Island 1 was rather unhappy with their lot. The first block at the meeting, the one that the Commonwealth came to be in support of, was created on the platform of unification against Island 1. The second block, led by Tricolor, had pre-planned ties to Yggdrasil and wanted to send aid to them, or rather, their ally Westhelm.
Oh, Tricolor and Westhelm were allies? Interesting.
Largest group in the event, themed after ancient Rome.
And it is, interesting that on both islands, the most powerful nations at the time were, kingdoms, were empires. You have Westhelm that is led by Empress Brood, and you have Tricolor being led by Jophiel, who are monarchists. It's a monarchy here. The king, or should I say the emperor, has absolute power and authority over his nation, and Jophiel has the same authority vested in her. Total power and authority.
The meeting drew out, longer and longer, each side proposing ideas, and those ideas being shot down in turn by their detractors. Ultimately, Tricolor proposed that some nations move to be closer to them, while others balked at the idea of their ties to Westhelm and refused such a proposal.
Now, I did not hear about this. I did hear about, actually the idea coming from Fuluxion that all the nations of the Island 2 would, unite under one banner in one civilization created against the potential threat of Island 1, right? But I never heard that, Tricolor was the nation that was spearheading this idea. And it was Jophiel who was spearheading this idea of uniting everybody under one nation, or having their civilizations closer to Tricolor. Yeah, that one is interesting to me. I did not hear about this. I've only heard about Fuluxion and him wanting, everybody to collapse their governments and to create one, super government that will represent Island 2.
Before the meeting came to a close, Coraline told me to wait, that they had an idea.
An idea?
Barely hearing her, and vaguely still paying attention to the meeting, I said all right. And she set out back to the Commonwealth.
Why doesn't she just tell you along the way while you guys are going to the Commonwealth? Why does she want you to wait there while she heads back to the Commonwealth? That makes no sense.
After the meeting came to an unceremonious and inconclusive end,
Inconclusive? I thought you guys had a vote. And those who voted for diplomacy and trade with Island 1, won the debate and won, as the political stance of Island 2, that they will commit to trade and diplomacy with Island 1 instead of, preparing themselves for a conflict.
I was invited by Flux, who initially voiced the pro-unification sentiments at the meeting. Following his group, I unfortunately ran out of stamina and was left behind.
You ran out of stamina and you were left behind? Okay. Why aren't they left? Why aren't they out of stamina? Why is it only you affecting you, Sitzkrieg? Or maybe you need food to increase your stamina and then you're able to catch up with them. Maybe. Okay.
Alone and quite down about my current situation, I made my way back to the Commonwealth.
And this is after Coraline said that you should wait. And she has a plan. And she headed over to the Commonwealth.
And found it empty.
I guess that's the plan. Coraline has decided by herself that the Commonwealth is to move from its location. Yeah. And around this time, the Gauntlet also arrives back at the settlement, finding it empty.
Coraline had, in my absence, taken upon herself to circumvent the ruling council of the Commonwealth and gathered up everyone at the base of the hill and set off towards Tricolor. None of this was communicated. She explained after the fact that she thought that she had the authority.
How do you think that you had the authority to do that, Coraline? Before the Commonwealth came into existence, the 5 nations already agreed that they would become the Commonwealth. Am I correct about that? And if I am correct about that, why aren't there rules set for the council members that, whatever decision we make, it must be in consensus with everybody else within the council? That should be obvious. None of the council members should have the power to decide decide for themselves that they're going to do something so drastic like moving the capital location to a different location. That requires the consensus of all council members. Yes, including Orthon. Since Orthon has not been kicked out from the Commonwealth, it requires the consensus and the agreement of all nations of the Commonwealth. So how does Coraline think that she just assumes she has the authority to do this? Commonwealth.
This was a threefold problem. First of all, not everyone had found our initial base camp. Some were still making their way over after visiting some of the other nations. Phoebaz and much of Gauntlet were still off on their expedition and were at the time far in the southern jungles. While Wolfram was becoming increasingly dissatisfied with how little power he held in the Commonwealth, as he had not elected to make himself a council member, even though he was the leader of Arthon.
Yeah, the leader, the representative is Zeko, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Eventually, a vote was held, and it was decided that the Commonwealth would resettle its original location and turn it into our capital. Unfortunately, the site was in disrepair as resource gathering was quite intense and the beaches were scoured for the precious sand. The day ended not as the server shut down, but hours after. Arthonian relations had soured further. They were never truly honest in their aims for the Commonwealth. Most of us understood the Commonwealth as an equal partnership. Wolfram, Arthon's king, understood it more loosely. He envisioned it with Arthon as its leader.
Yeah, just another another leader seeking power and control over his people. Just like any other of the Island 2 nations, led by autocrats. What's his name again? Wolfram. Wolfram has the same ambitions. He wants to control, the entire Commonwealth under his own banner and authority.
The combination of Arthon's refusal to move from their initial settlement and Coraline's misstep led to her temporary, self-imposed exile. Wolfram threatened to leave the Commonwealth. Weeks of planning before the event were at risk of being thrown away because he was dissatisfied with the balance of power. Unfortunately for Wolfram, the document Arthon released
This is read this stuff.
to the Commonwealth leadership detailing their demands was their personal, annotated document with notes as to what they wanted to accomplish.
No. The moment they start giving you these types of documents and excuses, they have already resigned themselves into, believing that the Commonwealth as it is right now is not what they want, and it's a failure in their eyes, and, they don't believe in this equal partnership. They need to be kicked out. If you cannot go with the majority of the Commonwealth in how they want their political structure to be, structured, and if you cannot agree to it, then you can't be in the Commonwealth. You have to be kicked out. If I was one of the leaders of the Commonwealth, I would be like, guys, let's not waste our time. Let's not waste our time trying to convince the Kingdom of Arthon that, there's a better way if you join us and you understand the way we want our society to be led and to be governed. It'll be a waste of time trying to convince someone who's already written documents, words upon words of information, trying to justify, their reasoning on how the Commonwealth should be run. They are against the majority. They should be kicked out.
Unfortunately for us, their goals at the time seemed to be total dominion over the Commonwealth. Wolfram sought to make himself dictator and create a new senate that disproportionately would favor Arthonian citizens. Feeling betrayed, I let my pride get the better of me, and I leaked the document to the wider Commonwealth.
Well, that's necessary in my books. That is necessary. The people must understand what's going on with Arthon and what's going on with their leader. So, yeah, you might say that you leaked it, but I'm saying that's your responsibility as a leader. You must be truthful with your people. You must be upfront with your people. Let your people understand what's going on. Let them have confidence in your leadership. So, this is not leaking. This is your duty. Let them see what Arthon is expecting of the Commonwealth, and let us see how the people respond.
It took Coraline 4 hours in order to walk Wolfram back from the edge.
4 hours. I wonder what did she say.
An agreement was struck, one that not all were happy with. The beginnings of what would soon become the Acropolis were initially conceptualized on day 3.
Nice.
It would be a spanning complex of barracks meeting rooms, defenses, and a large storehouse. Work started smoothly on the foundation, and while I was organizing the construction, Coraline and Zekor, Arthon's lead diplomat, met in the Arthonian settlement. Certain tasks were delegated to specific members of the Commonwealth: mining, farming, and foresting. We had initial issues with farming due to the number of different styles of farms and the uncoordinated way they were organized. We also had our first official in quite certainly preventable death. One of our foresters, in the process of clear-cutting the titanic birch trees, died from fall damage. We were
Wow, that's just terrible.
eagerly awaiting, more specifically, I was eagerly awaiting the arrival of our wayward Arthonians. Their numbers would greatly expedite the creation of the Acropolis and would be a big step towards making a functioning, planned city.
So you've decided to swallow the pill and, focus on your public builds projects, even with people who don't want to be part of the Commonwealth in its current form. Yeah, you've decided just to turn a blind eye to Arthon and their ambitions and just use their manpower to build your Acropolis. Okay, Sitzkrieg.
The Commonwealth was shocked into inaction, while the killer escaped. Wolfram was dead, and with his death, so too was Arthon dead to the Commonwealth. What was
Really? Isn't Zekor still there?
left was a shambling corpse in its place.
I thought Zekor assumed the reins of Arthon and, he led the people. I guess, in the eyes of Sitzkrieg, he didn't really do a good job.
On the fourth day, we were making headway in constructing our capital building, the Acropolis. But all was not well and truly good with the Commonwealth. Arthon was paralyzed. Its new leader, EH, proved uncooperative, refusing to move from what was becoming readily apparent as their permanent settlement.
Yeah, from day one, you could see that this place, they were just not going to leave it. They were just not going to leave this place.
Their own safety and the safety of ourselves in the process. After all, could not another assassin strike them and succeed again? They chose to prioritize what they viewed as their independence over what would be best for everyone as a whole. The other Commonwealth members were busy building their own monuments, as Coria and their large flag, and the Gauntlet founded Bingo's Bread and finished their gauntlet. Later in the day, Coraline, along with Zekor, the new Arthonian counselor, attended a meeting hosted by Saparata, the arbiter of the previous island-wide meeting. It was hosted in a rather interesting copy of the capstone temple of our Acropolis. The meeting was to discuss island unification and the series of assassinations across the island. I could have attended that meeting. I almost went. But since Coraline was our chief diplomat, and the fiasco that was the first Island 2 meeting, I declined to go. It should have been a rather uneventful meeting. Nothing should have come of it. But once again, the Commonwealth was in an uproar. The original Council of 5 had only 3 original members still alive. Zekor, the Arthonian diplomat, survived, and only inflamed Arthonian independence. As the council was left paralyzed because our chief diplomat was dead, and had never included any of us in any of her diplomatic dealings.
Man, that's just unfortunate. Really.
And with that, the entirety of our diplomatic relations vanished.
You'll have to restart from scratch.
The Acropolis soon became my focus. It was an ambition. It represented what my original group, Mykonos, wanted to accomplish. To to establish a city. But if we couldn't make a city, we would make a monument in its place. On day 5, Saparata had agreed to go to trial, thinking that hosting his trial in the Acropolis would unify us and bring about no small amount of prestige. I urged us to convince the other leaders of Island 2 to host the trial at the Acropolis, and ultimately I was successful. Yet the Acropolis was far from complete, and lacking the sheer amount of sand needed would surely hold us back. Leveraging the trial, I was able to conscript from across the entirety of Island 2. They came from Concumal, a nominal ally of Mykonos, Aperion, Luminara, Tricolor. They came by the dozens to mine.
So this was an international effort, building the public civic buildings of the Commonwealth. It was an international effort. Wow.
Away slaving for sand. This was truly the first and final act of Island Unity, all in the effort to finish the construction of the Acropolis for the premier trial of the event.
I'm sure you were happy, Sitzkrieg, that finally, the Acropolis is complete. I'm sure you were happy.
The construction itself went smoothly, despite some hiccups. The trial, on the other hand, it was at this point that I was slowly becoming the key decision maker of the Commonwealth. Roy Can turned himself in to the Caste Coalition. He sought amnesty and a fair trial, after those who had hired him had failed to pay him.
Hired him?
We were going to put him on trial, with the judge being none other than Saparata. In essence, we had no judge. I had to last minute find a volunteer judge and trust that he would coordinate the trial while I was coordinating the finishing of the Acropolis, as we were even building it as people arrived for the trial.
And that judge is none other than Time Bomb.
Players came from every corner of Island 2, cramped wall to wall into the Acropolis, spilling out onto its steps. It was the closest I came to achieving my ambition, to see a structure we made used for its intended purpose. Groups coming together and having conversations on its steps, moving and gathering like the flow of a stream that we built.
But you must be happy, Sitzkrieg, that this is happening. That people are filling the halls of your Acropolis. Yes, it's for a murder trial. It's for the assassination of leaders of Island 2. The presiding event of the Acropolis is a dark one. It's not a happy one. People are not here to celebrate. People are not here to, debate, have safe and cordial debates on the future of Island 2. People are here for a trial. They're here for the murder of the leaders in Saparato's home. And then, of course, also Rory Can. That will be the next trial after this one. But, you take the wins where you can get them. And this is a win. Yeah. The Acropolis being used, being filled up with people from across Island 2. Also, the Southern Island or Southern Alliance is also going to be heading over to the Acropolis. So yeah, this place became the international gathering point, all for, a tragedy that occurred at Saparato's home.
Initially, we had issues with public cooperation during the trials. People were becoming increasingly paranoid of dripstone, even though our roof was visibly hollow and made of slabs. It didn't stop some from disrupting the...
I just saw Ish there. What's up with the capes? I keep seeing people with these capes.
event.
Even Ish has one. Labby mod. Okay.
exchange for their support in hosting the trial at our Acropolis, Luminara insisted that they handle all security for the event.
Really?
When the time arrived, we all stood waiting for Saparata. Appearing before the members of the court, his opening statements, while important contextually, as he rightly accused Flux for the assassinations, were ultimately of little importance to us during the trial itself.
And that's a damn shame.
Witnesses were called, and the trial dragged on, and on, and on. I was told before the trial that Saparata had already agreed to a guilty verdict.
Told by who? Who told you that? Sitzkrieg. And why did you believe them?
Now, this was incorrect information, but considering how long the trial was dragging, I urged Time Bomb, the judge, to cut the trial short. And after dealing with an increased...
So, it was you, Sitzkrieg. You told him to rush the trial.
increasingly irritable gauntlet, I urged us to execute Saparata off of their massive fist jutting out over the mountaintops. The trial was called to a close, and the witnesses were silenced. The execution would take place. We did not have time to finish our walls, only barely completing the top of the Acropolis. The crowd became unruly. Luminara did not have control over the situation. Their guards rushed out with the crowd, completely disregarding their responsibilities. And in a rush to get to the fist, Saparata escaped. The trial for Rorican was a much smaller affair, and one which showcased my growing apathy. Zekor, the Arthonian diplomat, approached me and stated he had evidence implicating Gauntlet, and that he wanted my support in bringing this out of the trial. But after dealing with so many broken promises from Arthon, failures in their obligations, and their arrogance, I simply stated that I didn't care.
To me, it seems like after the completion of the Acropolis, Sitzkrieg, you've essentially resigned yourself from any sort of responsibilities or leadership over the Commonwealth. You're done. You've completed your public project, and that's it. That was your goal. You achieved it, and now you're just here to bask in its existence until the end of the event. And everything else that's happening around, you give half the energy to the problems or to the administrative issues of the Commonwealth than what you've given to building of the Acropolis. I think that's what I'm seeing here. Because that trial was a sham. You know that yourself. It was a sham. And this trial of Rorican is also going to become a sham.
Rorican was put on trial and sentenced to death. And he too escaped. Though I did not know it at the time, he had help, and a convenient escape tunnel was dug for him. I'm Happy interviewed us. After all, it was nothing short of an abject failure for the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth was at what I thought would be its lowest point.
No, there's still more to come.
The day ended. Day 6 was a build day. Staff mandated a strict no griefing policy. The aim was for groups to finish their builds, though, since there was no conflict, many took it as a way to gain safe passage and tour the southern archipelago. We finished much of the Acropolis. The storehouse was completed, and the facade was presentable. We even finished our amphitheater and hosted a wonderful concert, inviting as many as we could to enjoy our structure.
Oh, that's nice. Kind of reminds me of the Colosseum in West Helm. They were also, after they completed the Colosseum, they had, events and entertainment, planned and presented by various people in West Helm. And they also had some community games being played within the structure, the Colosseum. So yeah, it's good to see that the Acropolis also had its own events.
I even acquired the rights to a freaking turkey's soul during the concert, as he had sold it to a member of state staff, and staff had conveniently lost it. Zekor and Arthon had this entire time been leading an investigation into the death of Wolfram. What came to light was less than flattering. Half of the Commonwealth Council had been party to his death, and my leaking of the internal Arthonian document drove Gauntlet to assassinate Wolfram. What Arthon had kept secret is that Rorican was not the only assassin. Cosmic Chrome, a member of the Gauntlet, was there as well and participated in the assassination. Mykonos, having spent most of its time building the Acropolis, was severely undergeared. We spent much of the beginning of the day underground, arming ourselves. Yet as we were mining beneath the Acropolis, the Commonwealth spiraled ever downwards. Zekor, who had become the new counselor for Arthon, and Zarkmark had gone to attend yet another Island 2 meeting in the middle of the water, as a safety precaution. The island was becoming ever more paranoid. It was there that Zekor signed the death warrant of the Commonwealth.
He did?
He demanded before all of Island 2's representatives in the name of the Commonwealth the deaths of Phoebaz, Cosmic Chrome, 1EJP, Tiaki, a representative of the Gauntlet who was also in attendance at that very meeting, who, left in a rage, forever swearing off the Commonwealth, as the rest of Island 2 signed their death warrants.
Wow. Like this definitely is going to become one of the great implosions of the Commonwealth. The fact that Zekor would demand the deaths of the leadership of the Gauntlet and most of its citizens. Yeah. And coming from Arthon, of all nations in the Commonwealth, Arthon.
Days of arguing, miscommunication, and a blatant disregard for each other had led up to this moment. As Korea sided with Gauntlet, and I, seeing the Commonwealth crumble around me, was stuck impotent as Zekor demanded the death of Gauntlet members before another island-wide meeting.
It's interesting that as Korea and their leader Coraline would side with Gauntlet and not with Arthon, when Coraline was very close friends with Wolfram. She took what was it, 4 hours to try and convince Wolfram to see the Commonwealth in a different light and to join them in their effort as a united nation. I would think that Coraline would be on the side of Arthon, but no, she chose Gauntlet. Interesting.
I had delegated diplomacy to him, and this was the result. I thought he would hold the Commonwealth's interests in mind. Instead, he only cared for furthering Arthon's goals, which was
I mean, that's no surprise. It started with their king, and now it's also going through into their other leaders, Zeko in particular, and also the citizens of Arthon. You know, they I don't think they've ever felt that they were part of the Commonwealth. Not really. In name, yes, but in soul and function, not so much. So it's not really a surprise.
revenge for Wolfram's death. The Commonwealth was shattered. And soon, Gauntlet was seen heading off to Westhelm, a deal seemingly struck with their emperor, Spood. This was not the origin of our conflict with Westhelm. For that, we have to go back to the beginning. The Acropolis was not built by myself alone. It was a collaborative effort between Josh, myself, Arabera, and many others, including Westhelm's build lead, Knight Arcturus.
Wow. So Knight Arcturus also had a hand in building the Acropolis? That's very interesting. Huh.
Knight Arcturus had been an early member of Mykonos, but had...
Really? I thought he was a member of... what's the nation called again? Westhelm. I thought he was a member and a citizen of Westhelm. So he was always Mykonos from the very beginning. It's just that he was teleported to the wrong island. Is that it?
left before the event started because he won the vote to become the building senator of Westhelm.
Oh. So he thought that would be more important than, joining forces with the rest of Mykonos and building the society. His ambitions, governed his reasoning, and he couldn't pass up this opportunity. And the leopard bit his face. and the leopard is Emperor Spood. He bit your face, Knight Arcturus, and then you tried to run away.
Throughout the event, we had kept steady contact. They, along with a number of other Westhelm builders, were disgruntled with Spood's rule. Enough.
It's an emperor. What were you guys expecting? Knight Arcturus, what were you expecting? He's an emperor. He's not elected. He doesn't need your sympathies or your support. He is your emperor. You must kneel before him. Whatever he says goes in Westhelm. You didn't think about this before you decided that you wanted to join them?
So that it convinced Caboose to wish to return to Mykonos. What truly pushed him over the edge, though, was the failure of his aqueduct to appease the moderators, to remove the damaging boiling water of Island 1. Then,
so it's not about you wanting to assassinate Emperor Spood. It's about other, infrastructure builds that have not convinced the angels and Ish himself that, this might be a solution to the boiling water situation on Island 1. Wow. Ish. Ish, you wanted to make sure that whatever problems your children have with you and the way you govern your universe should never be highlighted. And that there should be other problems highlighted, in particular in this situation with Knight Arcturus and Empress Spood. Because I was told that Knight Arcturus, along with someone else, I think it was Caboose maybe, if I'm not mistaken, wanted, or should I say they had a conspiracy and, they had a little group that wanted to assassinate Empress Spood. And that's what, made him exile himself from Westhelm and head over to the Commonwealth. We were never told that Knight Arcturus was trying to form a solution to the water crisis on Island 1 and that you guys shot him down. We were never told about that, Ish.
Caboose was falsely blamed for the death of a fellow Westhelm senator. Spood desired to use his Colosseum to host a great gladiatorial game. and who better to be its first victim than one of its principal designers?
Damn.
Knight Arcturus initially agreed to die fighting, but changed his mind once he discovered that the game would be rigged, with a diamond-enchanted axe being thrown into the ring towards his opponent.
Oh man, who decided that? Empress Spood? Nah, that's disappointing.
And so, Knight Arcturus fled to the Acropolis to seek refuge with his people. Spood was furious. His planned gladiatorial games were ruined.
Did Spood just hit someone?
Yet, for us, this was an opportunity. I saw it as an opportunity. The Commonwealth was dead in all but name, but I still thought that we had allies.
With who? Island 2 nations?
I was told by Zekor, who up until now had still been handling diplomatic relations for the Commonwealth, defunct as it was, that we still had allies. Knight Arcturus told me that Spood was going to send 2 diplomats and a light guard to take him back to Westhelm, that he and the Westhelm citizens who fled with him were going to ambush them and slaughter them on the steps of the Acropolis. It would be war, but it would be a war to regain what prominence and pride we once had. We had allies, did we not? The players of Island 2 spent so much of its early days fearing Island 1. Surely, we could rally them to the Acropolis to fight a good war.
No. They already made the agreement that they were not going to fight against Island 1 and its nations. They decided on diplomacy. So no, they are not going to join you in a fight against Westhelm. And besides, if you try that, you will die. Island 1 is a different story altogether. They have the Blue Cross. They have a meeting area for all the leaders of Island 1. And if all of them decide that because Island 2 is coming to Island 1 to attack Westhelm, Westhelm will have the support, I think, of all the other nations on Island 1. So you won't be fighting against Spood alone. Yes, it will be a glorious battle, one that you will lose dearly.
And so, as everyone was required to do, we passed our plans to our assigned state staff member. I'm happy. He was ecstatic. The day ended, and I slept.
Doesn't look like it's any of the islands, Island 1 or Island 2. There's no dune with, I think that's like an inland lake. It's beautiful though. And the sun in the far distance there, yeah, it's very beautiful.
Alive with revenge.
Wait a minute. Are those thrones? Who's sitting on the thrones? They're like celestial thrones. Yeah, like I can see the stars and the galaxy on, not galaxies, but yes, stars and nebula and dust clouds. Yeah, that's nice. Wow. So Ish and his angels are sitting on these celestial thrones. That is cool. That is so cool. I love this concept. Sitzkrieg, well done. Well done. Well done. Well done. So basically Sitzkrieg was teleported to the realm of the gods. Or to the realm of God and his angels. That's nice. So what? Why are you here? To appeal to the gods for some divine intervention? Oh gosh, who did they kill? It looks like they were using some sort of celestial power or energy spears just to kill him, whoever that is. Wow. Wait, that's I Am Happy. He was killed? Whoa. Wow, Ish, you killed one of your own angels? That's scary. Whoa, you're on your knees, you're begging. Ooh.
On day 9, despite not having the backing of state staff, we still tried to implement our plan. But Spood was tipped off by one of the leaders I tried convincing earlier. Spood sent his entire army to capture Night Arcturus. I called upon our allies. The enemy was at our steps. But no one arrived. Thinking this would be a moment of triumph, only to see Westhelm's entire army walk up our steps. My morale broke. I fled. Time and again, I struggled to regain my pride, to regain what little Mykonos had.
Well, remember, you were also focusing on the Acropolis most of the time, and you weren't in the diplomatic sphere of responsibility when it came to the Commonwealth. You were told by Zekor that yes, you have allies, but really there needed to be a meeting where Zekor could clearly explain to the rest of the council, whatever's left of it, their connection with the other nations on Island 2, I mean. And you yourself, as a council member, should be visiting those other nations as well to make sure that we still have that communication and diplomatic ties with the other nations on Island 2. But because you gave 50% of your time to state responsibilities and focused 100% on the Acropolis and the rest of the city build, it's no surprise that people did not come to your defense. It's just no surprise there. The other nations, like I said before, in the first meeting, they've already agreed that they're going to have, diplomatic and economic trade and communications with Island One. They weren't going to focus on having a standby force to fight against any potential invasion from Island One. Yes, there was a defensive pact, but that was a bit shaky. Yeah.
Through the Commonwealth, through the Acropolis, through this failed war, I wandered in a daze. Through this failed war, I wandered in a daze. I witnessed the finishing of the Rey Conquistador Temple.
Oh, you were there.
The construction of a theater greater in size than even West Helm's Colosseum. And still, I walked onwards. Yet Knight Arcturus was nowhere to be found. By then, he and his people had finished their villa and retired. And so, on the next day, I was approached by Spood. Spood's right hand, Spider, was growing tired of the event and wanted their death to matter. Spood wanted a war. His desire for prestige and the failure to fabricate a conflict left him still desiring more of the spotlight. Seeing there being no other...
I will take this with a pinch of salt. Because, like I've stated before, Emperor Spood's actions are totally contradictory to what other people are telling me about Emperor Spood. Emperor Spood's actions contradict what other people are telling me about Emperor Spood. Everybody is always telling me that Emperor Spood wanted war, he was bloodthirsty, he wanted to do this and do that, but what I'm being shown by Ish is totally different. So, I would need to hear it from the horse's mouth. I would need to hear it from him personally. I want to hear his voice saying, damn it, I wanted this war. I wanted to fight against the Commonwealth. I wanted to fight against the other nations of Island One. Until he actually tells me that, and until he actually shows that effort, that he wanted to do something like that. Really, this is just hearsay. This is gossip. And I'm not really going to entertain gossip. Sitzkrieg. This is your point of view. This is your side of the story. I want to hear Emperor Spood's side of the story. Yeah. Because, like I've said it before, his actions are speaking louder than his words. And his actions were primarily for the growth of West Helm. Majority of the time. Especially from... who was it again? No, not Aperion. It was Drifter's video on West Helm. Just trying to see if I can find it here. Where is it? That's Bobby. Oh no, I can't find it. Oh no, here it is. Yes, the Chronicles of West Helm. The Drifter 823. He did not, specify that Emperor Spood was organizing an army to perform some sort of conquest on Island 1. He never specified that Emperor Spood was creating an army that was going to fight on Island 2. Yes, he wanted to apprehend Knight Arcturus, but it never came to the point where, Emperor Spood wanted to then conquer the rest of Island 2 because of various reasons. Drifter was not giving me any information based on what you guys are telling me about the Emperor. The emperor was mainly focused on West Helm through the point of view of Drifter 823. And also on Ish's video, the way the emperor was portrayed in a very positive light in terms of him contributing and leading his people of West Helm. Not once did I hear that, Emperor Spood wanted to conquer. No. And his actions as well are not correlating with what I'm being told. So that's why I'm saying I need to hear it from the horse's mouth. I'm hoping Spood does have a YouTube channel and he made a video where he would go into his own position and his own point of view on, how he wanted to lead West Helm and how he dealt with other nations, and that he supposedly had these ambitions of going to war and having a good fight. Yeah, I want to hear it from the horse's mouth because the actions are not correlating with what I'm being told.
Option at the time, I reluctantly agreed to his proposal. I even offered another solution: to make the Commonwealth a vassal of West Helm.
Really?
In order to at least get back at the rest of Island 2 for their perceived slight against us by not coming to our defense. But that was rejected. Spider would approach the Acropolis alone. We would invite representatives from across Island 2. Acropolis. Spider would rant and rave and demand Knight Arcturus be returned to West Helm. He would do what he could to make us the victims and allow us to rally the rest of Island 2 to our defense. Then he would demand my answer, and I would, in response, kick him off the side of the Acropolis.
This is Sparta! Boom!
It was a flawed plan, but it was one I was forced into. By this point,
you were forced into it by who? The angels? Ish? Or by who? Because really, I think you have a choice here. You don't have to do this. So, either it's by the moderators or, you just decide that you don't have a choice.
I would do anything to regain my pride, even fight a losing war. Our diplomatic building, named after the late Coraline, was the stage.
That's cute.
Representatives from all over came, and I was given a script. It was nothing like what I agreed to. It made West Helm into the victims and vilified the Commonwealth. Spider, in his desire to make himself have a more meaningful death, wrote himself into the role of a martyr and made myself the villain.
At that point, you didn't have to follow through with it then. If this is all true, you don't have to follow through with it. If they change the story, if they change the plans, then you change the plans too. Tit for tat.
My face scrunched up, even as I said my lines. But my anger took over. All this effort, the failed promises, the failures, both personal and otherwise, leading up to this moment. I said my lines, and I killed Spider. And West Helm declared war. No one would be coming to our aid. Josh and our General Quack volunteered to return the remains of Spider to West Helm and accept the declaration of war. Spood killed them. Spood had forgotten to let Gauntlet know about this setup.
He had forgotten. He had forgotten.
And Gauntlet, seeking to kill Zekor, assassinated me as well.
So they succeeded.
But they did so while I was AFK, so I was returned.
What is AFK?
With the stipulation that I would die in a war.
Oh, okay, so that's when the moderators brought you back, okay. And, they expect you to die at the Ashen Bastion. Okay.
On day 10, the event had not stood still for us. The Caste Coalition, seeking their own spotlight, were embroiled in a feud with Infernus for ordering the death of Martio, Infernus's mining lead. The axis of the event was shifting toward their conflict, especially since Flux had decided to side with Infernus, and Saprata, who had been garnering support in Westhelm, sided with Cass, and the coalition forming against them. Westhelm sided with the coalition, and with much of Island 2 doing the same, we found ourselves sympathizing with Infernus.
Yeah, because, the rest of the Island 2 nations never came to your support. They never had your back. So why would you join forces with people who do not cooperate with you? Join forces with someone who also is in the same sort of, boat that you're in. And that's Infernus. Infernus also feel like they've been cornered and betrayed by other Island 1 nations because of the Netherite and during the Blue Cross meetings. And the fact that, they were also at pains, exacerbating their issues with Infernus after the assassination of Lingolini. So yeah, join people who understand betrayal. And Infernus and you guys as the Commonwealth understand betrayal by your neighbors. Yeah.
Past aside and forgotten, we marched across the islands and joined in the final battle on the side of Infernus. But not before saying our final farewells. We wrote our final words and each put a memento of ourselves in the mausoleum. A single item that represented each of us. For myself, it was a single block of sandstone. It was at Infernus that we made our final preparations. Speeches were held in their throne room, and we came to realize that we were in unfamiliar territory. The castle, while impressive, was lacking in defensive features that we were aware of, and the secret escape routes that they had prepared were also unknown to us.
Secret escape paths, like where? How? On the chains? Oh my gosh.
The peacekeepers descended the steps of the mountain, cutting a bloody swath through the coalition.
Yeah, they did. Oh, definitely they did.
They bought us a slim chance at victory, killing nearly a quarter of the coalition. But enemy spies illegally leaked the location of our traps against the wishes of staff, and we had to fight for the castle. The battle was fierce. An enemy shield wall crossed the bridge, our arrows mixing with those of Infernus, pelting our enemies. But we were driven back. We fled to the tower where we debated on what we should do. It was there we saw the Infernus Queen alone. We decided to make a stand. I was ordained to die. It might as well be an interesting death.
Defending the Queen of Infernus. That's good.
It was there I once again dueled Cosmic Chrome. He had killed me once, and I would have my chance at killing him in turn.
A chance. That's what you get, a chance.
I would have my chance at killing him.
Hold out condition from the castle. You would not believe where I'm from the castle.
was finished in my absence. Many members of Mykonos survived the Battle of Infernus, or got lost on the long march to the Infernus castle. Besides a small hiccup where Gauntlet returned to gloat over their victory, the Acropolis was lived in. It was a monument to failed pride and the tragedy of unchecked ego. The Commonwealth was ultimately a failed project. It formed out of the desire for smaller, separate nations to mean something in the face of the Goliaths of the event, like Westhelm. Yet our ego and pride prevented us from truly merging either together or merging into a larger nation, like so many other small groups did in the lead up to the event.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. It's sad that happened. But, hey.
The Commonwealth could have been so much more. Had Arthon not been driven by independence to the point of mediocrity, had as Coria and Aladonia and myself put our desires aside, had we not let our anger at each other's failures get in the way of acknowledging our own. I, more than others, fell prey to my own anger, yet while mixed with regret, I can't help but look at what we built and accomplished with pride. Mykonos did something. We had an experience worth remembering, and that's something I can take pride in.
Wow, guys, that's it with the tragedy of the Commonwealth in Ish Rich and Poor Civilization event made on the Sitzkrieg YouTube channel. And you'll be able to find this video as well on the compiled playlist by Crayfish in Brazil, the Ish 2.5 Minecraft Civilization event, Rich and Poor. Yeah, you'll be able to find it there as well. Sitzkrieg tried his best with what he had, and I want to understand, these small nations that decided that they were going to become the Commonwealth. What are the set rules they have put for themselves as the council members? What are the set rules, and how do each and every single nation adhere to the rules to make sure that nations don't deviate away, don't drift away from the mandate of the Commonwealth? Because to me it seems as if, yes, these small nations did unite to become the Commonwealth, but they never understood what that meant. Many of the leaders did not understand what that meant, becoming part of a Commonwealth. Many of the leaders or the council members of the Commonwealth also did not understand their responsibilities as leaders in the council. They did not understand their importance as leaders in the Commonwealth. They mainly focused on their own nations and their own nation's success, and that was at the detriment of the Commonwealth. When you think about Arthon, Wilfram, and his ambitions of wanting to control the Commonwealth for his people's sake and for his own ambitions, clearly he did not understand what it meant to be part of the Commonwealth once it began. He had his own ambitions, and Sitzkrieg, yeah, he was impatient. He was impatient with how things were developing in the Commonwealth. He tried his best for his people, the Mykonos people, for them to be led in a very safe and orderly manner, and for them to focus on building the civilization of the Commonwealth. He tried his best to make sure that the build projects that were to be completed would be completed under his leadership. And he kind of lost interest in the diplomatic side of the Commonwealth. And that's where I think his form of leadership was sorely missed, because they're going to need someone who's going to steer the ship out from these turbulent waters, because all the council members were captains and they were all trying to steer the ship the way they wanted to. And, Sitzkrieg was not there to try and stop them. I'm not saying that all of that responsibility should be on his shoulders, but what I'm saying is that he should have been a louder voice in how the Commonwealth is running and functioning as a state. He should have had a far more proactive stance in how it should be governed, because you could clearly see it with his build projects. They were really going full speed ahead, and it looks amazing. It looked amazing. Acropolis looked amazing. Everything that was built there was amazing. You could see where his passion and his interest was in, and it was not in the governing of the Commonwealth. And really, like I've stated before, Arthon should have been kicked out from the Commonwealth the moment Wolfram decided that they were going to stay in their new location on the Middle Island. They should have cut their losses as the Commonwealth. Cut their losses, cut the liability that is Arthon, and continue as the rest of the nations, the rest of the, 4 nations left in the Commonwealth. They should have continued on as the Commonwealth and let Arthon become its own independent kingdom without any cooperation or relations with the Commonwealth. That's what should have been done. And the point where, the responsibilities delegated to other members of the council, who would be the diplomatic head liaison, who would be, one running the functions of the state, who would be the one running the security of the state. These types of responsibilities were not clearly defined. They were not clearly defined, and it came to a point where the leader of Asconia, Coraline, decided upon herself that she was to be the leader to decide that the capital would move from one location to the next without consulting, without having consensus with the rest of the council. So the responsibilities, the positionings of the different council members was not clearly defined, and that also led to confusion and to mistrust amongst the council members, which also spilled over into the people who didn't truly understand what was going on with their own country's leadership. Like I said before, Sitzkrieg was impatient. He wasn't really involved in the international diplomatic situations as much. And when it came time for the importance of the Commonwealth to come to the stage, he was also impatient in how things should have been conducted. He insisted to time bomb to rush the trials of Saparada, and that was really something that was truly unfortunate, because you guys missed what could have been a closing situation for Fuluxion. If Fuluxion was brought before the trial for him to answer questions along with all of his accomplices, maybe things might have been different. But Sitzkrieg was impatient. He felt like this trial was going on for too long. It had to be cut short, and that's the end result. So there were moments where Sitzkrieg focused on what he was doing and how happy or how accomplished he felt for what he had contributed in building in the Commonwealth, and not really focusing on the intricacies of governing a state, of governing over people. Because the life of Saparada was basically in your hands, not just time bomb. It was in your hands as a leader, and you botched it up. And many of the other international situations also, as a leader, you should be apprised by or should I say apprised of the current information and status of the Commonwealth relating to the other nations on Island 2. You can't just think that Zeko has it all under control. No, You guys must communicate with each other. You must have meetings with each other to understand, the status of the Commonwealth in relation to the other nations on Island 2, so that you're not surprised when you think you have allies, when in actual truth you have no one beside you to defend the Commonwealth against this manufactured conflict between you and, or should I say, between the Commonwealth and West Helm. Yeah, so he was disappointed that no one came to the defense of the Commonwealth, came to defend a fellow Island 2 nation. But, this is because, he was not invested in the international diplomatic side of the Commonwealth. He was mainly invested in his own project builds and not really in the functioning or the running of the state. So, yeah. There are problems. All the leaders of Ireland, or should I say of the Commonwealth, had problems. They all had problems, and really it didn't help the Commonwealth one bit that the leaders themselves were tearing apart their own nation. Yeah. But like I said it before, Sitzkrieg and his people of Mykonos and whoever else was contributing to the construction of the Acropolis, they did an amazing job. That you can never take away from them. They did an amazing job, and really it was a beautiful city on the hill or on the top of the mountain there. Really beautiful. And I guess that is one true success, that they can be proud of. That at least they got to finish their buildings, and it will stand the test of time. The people not so much. The people not so much, but everything that they've built, definitely it will stand the test of time. Yeah. Alright guys, that's it. Thank you again to Sitzkrieg for making the video. Also thank you to Crayfish in Brazil for compiling all these videos. And yeah guys, that's it. Remember, if you want to check out the original video as well as Sitzkrieg's YouTube channel, the links are going to be in the description below. If you like my reaction, give it a like, comment and subscribe to my channel. Click on the notification bell if you want to be up to date with my latest videos, and I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow. Okay, bye bye.